Well, I think one of my most interesting stories is my first fight. So when I first got started in MMA, I was coming straight from a wrestling background. I went to college, I met Brian there, started learning a little bit about jiu-jitsu, but I was very reluctant to ever even think of trying fighting. Like, my reaction was like, no way, I don't want to get punched in the face. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. Well, little did I know that I knew nothing about MMA, so I went and watched my very first MMA fight. I'd never even heard of the UFC. And what I saw there that night was like, whoa. I mean, they laid everything on the line, and it was just, it was inspiring. So immediately, like, this light bulb went off in my head. The competitor in me kind of came out, and I was like, I think I could do that. And lo and behold, the stars aligned once again, and the referee that was reffing that fight that night got on the microphone and was like, hey, I'm gonna have an all-female fight card in 3 weeks. So I made my way down there, like, not knowing anything about this sport other than wrestling and like very basic jiu-jitsu, and I was like, hey, I wanna do this. I was like, cool. Took my information. 3 weeks later, I was fighting. So I had about 3 weeks of stand-up training at that point, and like the most basic knowledge of jiu-jitsu. I got matched up against a Muay Thai specialist. First round, I won by just kind of lay and pray. I took her down super easy, but I mean, I almost forgot that I could throw punches on the ground because I was so new to it. Second round, she puts me in a Thai clinch. So I'm like 1-2, 1-2. She clinches me. She starts kneeing my face. And mind you, this is like on a reservation at a casino. There's no doctors there. There's no insurance. There's no, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't getting paid to do it. So I really jumped right into it. And she starts kneeing me, and one of them cracks me straight on in the nose and just breaks my nose. And I hear this really loud just crunch. And I'm like thinking, whoa, this is way different than wrestling. Obviously, you know, there's some serious like punishment involved if you don't do well. So I'm still like no clue what she's doing or how to defend it, so I'm still trying to shoot into these knees that are coming rushing at my face. I was like making that rookie wrestler mistake, you know. Well, I did get her down, but obviously I was dazed, you know, and I was bleeding pretty profusely, and she kind of shoved my head down, she slipped around to my back, she got her hooks in, and she was trying to choke me, but I had too tight of a guard, you know, from the wrestling. So I remember sitting there on my knees and my forearms in this very surreal moment, and like every time I talk about it, it takes me right back to it. My hands and my elbows, and I had my head down like this, so I was defending so she couldn't choke, and she postured up and she started hitting me in the sides of my ears. And I don't know if you've ever been flicked in the ear, but that's actually one of the most painful things. And at this moment, I'm seeing blood like streaming from my nose in a steady stream. It's not even dripping, it's like streaming. And this pool of blood is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like right in front of my eyes. And I realized at that moment that I'm gonna fight. And it was kind of one of those weird moments where I was like, whoa, you know, it's either fight or flight. I'm in this thing, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but here I am, you know, I gotta make a decision here. And I just remember getting pissed. And I was so pissed. I'd never had my nose broken before. And I just started bucking her like crazy, and she fell down into like the guard position, so she was now underneath me. And I shoved her off, and I stood up, and I was on my tippy toes, and I was reaching to the ceiling, like reaching, and I was like throwing punches, just raining them down from the sky, and like there was blood going all over me, all over her. And I remember the last look on her face was like weathering the storm, but went back into my corner after that second round, and I was just totally invigorated. You know, I knew what I was there to do, but my coaches were kind of like, whoa, like, you know, this is way back, 8 years ago, so women's MMA was very, very new, and seeing something like that, I think, was a little difficult to stomach, to see like your female counterpart going through that. And so they're like, you know, we're gonna play it safe, we're throwing the towel in. And I was like really disheartened, because I was like, man, you know, finally realized what I'm here to do. I was here to fight, and I was ready to go out there and just terminate this girl in the third round. And they were like, no, because, you know, obviously your nose is broke, we don't know how bad it is, there's no doctor on site, there's no one's paying for your medical bills. So they decided to play it safe, and it was unfortunate. I always want to fight that girl again, but I always have to laugh, because when I told my family and I told all my friends that, yeah, I'm going to do this MMA, I'm going to try fighting, they're like, what? No way, this is crazy. Like, oh my gosh, well, just don't break your nose. You know, that was like the typical thing, you know, like when someone wishes you good luck or whatever, like, oh, don't break your nose.